Thank you all for being here. My heart is so full, especially today and for tomorrow, of course. But before I get started, I want to acknowledge my husband's spirit. Okay? So, Igun, Mojuba, Ibaye, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe-O. Igun means ancestor, Mojuba means greetings, and Ibaye means respect. And so I give respect to his spirit because he has been with us this entire time, okay? And the fullness of my heart was coming in and seeing the altar set up with the pictures, and each one of those pictures I remember when they were taken and the moment in time in which they were taken. And so I got really full. At that. So I just want to share with you, you heard stories about Baba and what he does in his work, and I want to give you stories, a few about the man at home, the man and his work, and the reasons why he did the work. It all started with the Tamarian Martial Arts Institute, and the colors that I wear represent the Tamarian Martial Arts Institute. The Amanita muscaria mushroom. I look like a big mushroom, right? I met Kilindi when we were 19. I'm 67 now. I met Kilindi when we were 19 years old. It was at a martial arts school. They would, different schools would visit different schools, and I was in Taekwondo. And so I'm doing this really hardcore Taekwondo, throwing from the hip, hard blocks and whatnot. And I see this beautiful young boy over in the corner doing an amazing movements that he was doing, and it was just so beautiful. And with me coming from a dance background, I wanted to know what it was he was doing. So I go over to the young man and I said, well, could you show me some of those moves that you're doing? And he was like, well, sure. So he comes up from behind me, mannish little dude, right? He comes up behind me to show me the move, and I felt his energy, and I got offended, right? So I turned around and I put a move on him, right? But he blocked everything that I did, right? But I think he was just amazed at the fact that I would, put the move on him. And so that began a 25-year, I'm gonna get you, woman. And he did. And he said, now you belong to me. Yes. I was ready. I was ready to take off the tight jeans. I was ready to stop going to the club. I was ready to, just kind of chill and learn something from this man because he has been a part of my divine destiny. And I knew that back then, but it wasn't our time. So let's move forward to the beginning of our relationship, and which lasted 22 years on this dimension here. But he said, here, take this. And I said, well, what is that? He said, it's mushrooms. I said, but what do you want? He said, eat them. I was like, okay. I had no idea what I was getting ready to do, what I was in for. He didn't explain anything. There was no information. I just ate these 5 grams of dried mushrooms, and baby, it just changed the entire trajectory of my life. I journeyed backwards in time through my mother's womb. I remember going into the fetal position and going back through my mother's womb, and I ended up in the pyramids. I say that because the glyphs were very familiar to me. The images on the wall were very familiar to me. And I felt like if I had more, I would be able to read what I was seeing, right? So, and then the love that I felt from this man in that space. I mean, if you ever felt love, and you know that it's love, but then you take mushrooms and you're absolutely sure of what love really feels like. It was so warm, it was so beautiful, and it was so powerful. And I just know that I was in the right place and where I was supposed to be at that time. So Baba Kilindi opened up that space for me. I was already very connected to the Kemetic way of living. If you come in my house, you kind of think you're going to visit a little place in ancient Kemet. Tamari is the real name for Egypt, which is, to marry in, so the Tamarian Institute. So it all started with that. Baba was a man of conviction. That's what attracted me to Baba Kilindi, was his courage of conviction. They told him that there was no such thing as African martial arts, that the only thing that's real and will be recognized is Korean and Chinese and all of the whole Japanese samurai, but not African martial arts. And Baba Kilindi said, no, I'm going to stick to what it is that I know, what I believe in, and that I know that the mushrooms are a large part of this. It's called the AHA method, is what he taught. Now, he could have had, with his skills, he could have had the most fabulous schools. He could have had thousands and thousands of students buying him homes and cars and bowing down to him when he walked in the room. That was not Baba's way. Baba's way was to teach and to allow you to grow inside of what he was teaching you so that you can go on and do your own thing. And so he struggled inside of the African martial arts world until he finally made people sit up and notice this sleeping giant that was coming awake inside of the African martial arts. He stuck to it. And there were many times that it was some lean times doing African martial arts. But you know what? I was the richest woman in the world because of the African martial arts and his way of thinking and the courage that he had to stay inside of that place and do these martial arts for the people. So that was the beginning of Baba's journey inside of going even deeper. His words to you, he would say, go deeper, be more than what you are. You have everything that it takes to go further inside of that place. And I want to say right now that I'm a proud mama because, and I know he's a proud Baba because Baba Mudu speaking, Acacia speaking, these are his students, and they have learned from him, and my heart is just so full at listening to these young people and what they're doing. And some of Kilindi's last words to me was, continue the work, Ayana. And they are continuing the work, and I will continue this work until I join him, you know, and that's just the way that it's gonna be. So Baba's, he had I thought I marked it off in my book here. And give me just a minute to see if I can find it. I thought I was ready, but it was about dying. It was about death, you know, and how we are not hooked to the body, how we're not hooked to the body. But I don't think I'm going to be able to find that right now, so I do apologize for that. But I want to offer this to you. First of all, let me tell you what my title is about. I am High Crone Warrior Priestess, Mama Ayana Iyi. High, well, sometimes I am, but high because I've been elevated by my community and the society. They recognize that and they give me that respect. So the high energy is there. Crone is because I deal with the triple goddess energy, that is maiden, mother, and crone. So I've gone through the maidenhood, of course. I've had my children. I've been a wife. I've been a lover. My babies came. And now as I moved into this other area, I am now that crone where my wisdom is on the inside of me now. I don't need it to flow outward to where I got to chase the babies anymore and get them to school and make sure dinner is done and da-da-da-da-da. I don't do those things anymore. I'm a grandmother, but my wisdom is stored inside now, and so I become wise. And I'm a warrior because hanging out with Baba Kilindi, you better be. And he taught me the martial arts because I had to always be ready. You know, he was always telling me that we're at war outside and inside, but to be prepared to always be prepared to protect yourself, but first and foremost to protect the children and the elders, those that the attack is against, those who cannot defend themselves. So that part of my life, being a warrior. And then priestess comes from the fact that I've done this work for so many years, for the past 20-something years, that I can bless you, and those blessings will come into fruition, okay? So High Crone Warrior Priestess, Mama Ayana Iyi. Ayana means beautiful flower. Iyi means oracle. I am a Scorpio. I am the sister to Oya, the deity, the guardian to the gates of the cemetery. I am the daughter of Queen Osaloronga, who is the queen mother of all witches. I identify strongly as a witch. I tell people when I open up that I am the great, 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 great granddaughter of the witches they didn't burn. And so I stand before you in my power as a woman that I can stand here and say this to you and not be demonized. Absolutely. Baba respected that energy. He fed that energy. He gave me what I needed in order to move that forward and to be on this path of helping women be just that powerful. Get used to wearing that crown. Make it comfortable on your head and hold those shoulders up and them boobs up and walk like the way you're supposed to walk and accept the responsibilities of a woman in that power. Now, I'm fortunate to have had a man who supported that, but a lot of relationships don't have that. It's kind of one-sided, and so the balance is off, you know? So let me just stop. How many people here have not taken mushrooms? Can I see a show of hands? So we just have 2 that have not. Okay, and that's cool. Oh, my 2, okay. All right, then, those are my 2. Okay, so everybody else has, because I know if you haven't taken mushrooms, and some of the stories that you've heard today, you're like, I am not taking no mushrooms. But we have, Baba set forth a protocol inside of the mushrooms in our community, and that was 5, 7, and 9. The 5 gram was to promote visual acuity. You take your 5 and the room starts to disintegrate, the lights go, everything dissolves, you got colors popping off, serotonin receptor sites are kicking off this energy, you're going into that space. And it's generally a pretty easy trip in terms of what you're doing. 7 is like an aphrodisiac type kind of dose. Where's she at? Where is she at? Yeah. So I pushed the 7 with couples specifically. Couples who have, journeyed on the 5. But I pushed the 7 because 7 increases the sexual energy. So C and SA, central nervous system arousal. The man will get agitated and get an erection. And the woman will get those juices flowing to where when you come together on 7, you're understanding not that, how many times did you come? That ain't what it's about. It's about the sacredness of sex and the magic that you're creating on these mushrooms, and it makes you understand what this really is. You become one flesh. It's called hypnosis. You're connected in another, you throwing up signs, you talking in another language, you getting your groove on, and help us if we make a baby like this, okay? And that's where we're going with this thing. If you're ready to make a baby and you're on mushrooms, do it on 7 grams, okay? These babies will come out the way, yeah. So, that's the thing. And so 9, the 9 is, it imparts the mysteries. You start to leave this planet. You start to travel galactically. And I encourage those that have a sitter, you have to have a sitter. We insist that you have a sitter the first 3 times, at least, on the 5, the 7, and the 9. Setting is everything. So having those sitters and someone who has been inside that knows how to sit, that knows that if you do get in a little bit of trouble, they know when to take you out of the darkness and bring you into the light. All of these are Baba's teachings. All of this is the stuff that he did all while he was doing what he was doing. I have been a mushroom widow long before I became a widow. Baba, he would get in that basement in his lab and be down there for 3 days, only coming up maybe for a sandwich or 2 and go right back down. So I would say, I'm a widow. Where you at? You're gone. But he would be down there, and that was his dedication. And what it was his love that I seen of what he was doing. For 2 years, he grew mold. If anybody is a grower, they understand how frustrating that can be until you can figure out what it is that you're doing. But when he got it, he got it. And it was the love that he poured into the plant or the fungi that what I call now is what it is, Tamarian blue, that he created, but it was a top shelf energy. You get this symbiotic relationship with the fungi. You just, and watching him do his work and how he handled it and the way he cared for it. And it wasn't about a money thing for him. It was like, I want to teach you how to grow. I want to teach each and every one of you how to grow so that you will have this knowledge. And also, the very simple part of it is if you learn how to grow mushrooms, you won't ever be hungry. Because when you have this type of technology, a mushroom sandwich is going to taste real good, you know, if you're going hungry out here. And we better really seriously look at that, though, you know, because we're coming into some stuff. The stuff that is happening right now on this planet is what Baba talked about 10 and 15 years ago. So we know that from that, he is a time traveler. And it was his time to go ahead and move on. He laid the groundwork for us to do the work, but he talked about the things that are happening 15 years ago. And it's just, so when he left here and he moved through my body after passing, he moved through me, he said, Ayana, don't be angry. I heard this audibly. Don't be angry. I got this. And Baba has had this for the past 2 years of guiding me where I needed to go, how to do it, providing for me, talking to me, making sure that all was well. And when I'm in just a little bit of trouble, I don't even have to say, Baba, Baba. He's right there, because the veil between worlds has been thin for a long time, but it's even thinner now. And it's not just Baba that you can reach, it's your ancestors. And sometimes you don't need to take that 5, 7, or 9. You can just reach over there and they're there. But if you take that 5, 7, or 9, or 12, or 15, or 18, they're sitting right there on the sofa with you. You can have a serious conversation with your ancestors and get some serious guidance. Now, one of them done told me what the number gonna be. That has not happened. They have not told me that we over here having a ball at Wally World. That's not the way it works either. But they're there and they're accessible to you, and you must greet them and honor them. And the mushrooms put you in that place to do that. And so there's a high reverence for your ancestors, because you will see them when you go over there. You know, so I want to tell you maybe a quick few stories about Baba and I traveling together. There's one particular one where we took maybe about 12 grams together, and I'll just point out the significant part of it. I was walking behind him. He was huge. He was like a mountain, and I was walking behind him, and everywhere he stepped, he turned it into an ocean. And he got a little bit annoyed with me because I was just in awe of the oceans he was creating with his feet. And he was looking back like, would you come on? You know, and I just remember that because the water was beautiful, but it was huge, and he was huge. And then there's the one where we came to some gates. This is another journey. We came to a gated forest. And at the door of that forest were these golden weapons, and they were glowing. A shield, a couple of swords, some knives. It was just beautiful. I said, Baba, there's some weapons. He said, pick them up. He said, pick them up and follow me. And I said, no. I said, I'm going to pick them up, but it's time for you to follow me. I then morphed into an owl, and I guided us out of there. So that was very significant for me, because at that time, that's when I started the work for helping women stand in their power. It was just our time. That's the information that was imparted, that men now have to listen to us, that it has fallen into our laps, because we see, and I am not bashing you brothers, because we need y'all so bad, but what it is that because we're standing up, we're not putting you down. Because we're standing up, we're trying to create the balance so that we can heal the planet, we can heal the babies, we can heal the brothers, we can take care of this information, and we can make this a better world for everybody. And psilocybin, entheogenics, is the key. Entheogen, to generate the God within. I can't tell you how many people have gone on a trip and said, I am God. Yes, you are. I tell people, I said, stand in the mirror and look at yourself until a God or goddess looks back. Recognize who you are inside of this place, and then you'll understand what this is really all about. We accept this American dream. You want to get up, you want to go to work, you want to kiss the wife, kick the dog, make a baby, come home, and do it all over again. Repetitive. They tell you that's American. Own a house. If you never own a house because the taxes, you don't pay that, they taking it. Your car take you 5 years to pay for that. I mean, come on, y'all. That's the American dream that they fed you. But you take these mushrooms and you understand that there's so much more. It strips away the illusion of what money is. Money is some bullshit. They make you chase, what is it called, chasing the bag, right? You don't stress, you manifest. That's what you do. And when you come from that space, Money is no longer elusive to you, but when you chase it, it becomes elusive because you're always trying to go after it that way. You look at it in a different way and you understand what it is and it's there for you. Now, am I talking about millions of dollars? No, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about to sustain yourself and your lifestyle to where you're comfortable enough. These are some of the things that mushrooms have taught me. And I'd like to ask you all, when you do go in, what have you brought back that can enhance your life here in this 3D dimension? What do you bring back that you use to do the work over here? Because see, we don't stay over there all the time. I can walk past my refrigerator with those mushrooms in it for a whole year and not go inside of that. I'm like, no, not today, not this week, no, it ain't gonna happen, no. But what has it done for me on this plane right here? I need you to really look at what it is that you seek to do when you go over into that space. Now, I heard some pretty terrific stuff today about some of these journeys, monsters and stuff like that. Well, I've run into my fair share of monsters, which is where the word warrior comes from, because I had to do some fighting with some of those monsters on different terrains, on alien terrains where the fights happen at. But I was always victorious in my fighting. Actually had to bite the head off of something. And then the next morning, I threw something up that looked like a head. I'm like, what the? So you'll sit around. I mean, I'm kind of moving around here with Baba. So Baba was always my sitter for the most part, because we would be at home. And there was a time in particular when he had to get me up to help me to the bathroom. I think I might have been about 12 feet tall when he helped me up, because the way I was walking, like this. And the toilet looked like this right here. And I'm standing before the toilet, and I'm like, I can't sit on that, it's too little. And he just laughed. That was some very funny shit to him, right? So, so yeah, let me just say this. I would like to offer a moment of silence for the people in Ukraine, okay? In the midst of everything that's going on, in spite of the fact that the black people are being discriminated against in this very unbelievable time. The earth is very, very, very saddened at what's happening to the people in Ukraine. This global geopolitical interest cannot be more important than the simple, peaceful life of millions of people. So just for a moment, just collectively, let's send our energy over to Europe and ask that there be peace on this earth. And I know through this powerful fungi that we might be able to create this peace if we collectively feel this thing together. The earth is hurting. She's hurting with all of the turmoil. So just a little bit of quiet right now, okay? Thank you. I am excited. I'm excited and disturbed about what's happening in the psychedelic world. Baba did his thing, he laid the groundwork, but what I see is happening as I look out upon the people right now and what's happening, I see the competition, I see the exploitation, I see people disagreeing with one another, talking about don't talk to that person, don't see that person for this reason or the other. That is not what this is meant. This is something that's been secret, and it is my goal as Baba Kilindi's wife to keep it sacred, and that was his work, the sacredness of the psilocybin mushrooms. How do we do that? We do that by opening our heart up with honor and integrity. We open our heart up by, if we're going to be a grower, we're going to grow the best fruit. We're going to share the clean fruit. I mean, I got a batch of mushrooms where it had vermiculite all over it. It was crunchy. It was all black where it had thrown spores. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you selling this to? I'm not buying this. This is not good at all. You got people are pushing the money, like Baba Muddu said, they're trying to treat it like they're drug dealers, and that's not what we're talking about here. So the sacredness, I'm very disturbed about what the people are doing. I know with decriminalization, coming along and making it easier for people like us to do what it is that we do, is still bringing in that commerce mindset. Yeah, you can pay your bills. It's all over the place right now. But how do you keep it sacred? You keep it sacred by dealing with people like Dave. He understands the sacredness of what this is, and he really is in his heart to help people grow and be their best and better selves on this planet at this time. The mushrooms and the renaissance that has happened with the mushrooms are here for a reason. It's because the Mother Earth says, my children are in trouble, and I need to bring this back out so that they can heal themselves. Now, just like it's here, and it's been here for thousands and thousands of years, just like it's here right now, it can be snatched away. If we don't honor it, if we don't use it with integrity, it can just dry up and disappear just like that. And then what's going to happen? So I'm saying honor the fungi. Talk to the people that you're around so that they can honor the fungi. Because you do create a balance, a relationship with them, especially when you grow. You know, you don't want to say cuss words like this shit right here. Baba would bring up tons and tons of pans of mushrooms for me to clean one by one and I'm like, oh, I had to clean this shit again. I had to stop that because the mushroom was like, excuse me? How about a little respect here, right here, you know? So I started while I was cleaning one by one to make sure it was perfect. Do you know this man would check my work? Take me 5 and 6 hours to clean all those mushrooms, but he would check my work to make sure that it was just like that. And that's what I'm talking about, the love and the integrity that you put into this beautiful fungi. So the principles that I like to stand on inside of this is honor, integrity, honor and integrity along with reverence. A deep and complete respect for something so magical, so mystical, and so accessible to us. Through rituals and the use of your crystals, we can only be, in awe of the door that has been opened to those who choose to walk through. Now, Acacia spoke very eloquently about the crystal technology that Baba had used, and that's something that he gave me my transdimensional crystal some maybe 16 years ago. Mine has a little man. When I'm on mushrooms, a little man that's sitting on something with his leg crossed. Like it's like he's making a four with his legs crossed, and he's in there, and I've kind of had a conversation with this little man, you know? But this crystal technology going in is something that you need to experience if you have not. And I encourage you to talk more with Acacia about the crystal technology. We have the Palantir stone at my home. It is in the basement. It's something that Baba procured, and he was very, very proud. He was very proud of what bringing this crystal into the home and the work to be done in it. So you sit at this stone at 21 grams. You need to have at least had 15 grams under your belt before you can sit before the stone at 21 grams. It's good to have a Yi Ming Zhu or your transdimensional crystal as you go in. So there was a woman who came. She sat with her 21. I was her sitter, of course, and I took 2 grams just to kind of hang out with her. And while she was inside of her work, the stone opened itself up to me. And I believe I was able to go in because of the high dose that she was on, pulled me in with her. But I was able to see for a little bit, and I seen something that looked like a praying mantis type kind of energy. It was skinny, and it was white, and it was working really fast with pipettes of crystal, like it was building something, and it looked at me as if to say, oh, you can see me, can't you? Okay, yeah. And it just kept working while I was looking, and then but I had to shake it off because I backed up from it because I was inside of that stone with her, you know, and I'm like, I'm here to help her do her thing, but it's pulling me in. It is just that powerful. It's so much that's waiting on you. Baba says, be more than what you are. Go further, go deeper. Every time I take a journey, there is trepidation. Don't think that I don't feel like, I'm gonna do this right now. I'm like, I'm not big and bold and bad. I'm gonna take these mushrooms and I'm gonna just be G right here. Nope. I be feeling some kind of way. And like I said, it can be a whole year or 2 before I go back in. I do more microdosing now than ever because I put my dues in, baby. I had 20 years of doing mushrooms. I don't want to taste it no more. I don't care what you use to put on your tongue. I don't want no more. Baba told me that I've only touched the helm of what this is. Acacia says, Mama, she said, taking 21 is easier than taking 7 or 8. Like, how is that possible? You know? She said, because you just go right up in there. You don't have to go through those steps of getting there. You just bam, and you in there. You know, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll get to that point, but mine is less taste, I believe is what it is. It's just a taste. I can't even watch nobody eat no more, right? But Kilindi's like, Ayana, you haven't done it. So I want to tell y'all, Kilindi decided to take 40 grams in 2016. Now, if you paid attention to the women that are on the picture there, of him and me and 2 other sisters, those were my co-wives. We lived a polygamous relationship. I understand that a man of power needs more than one woman. And a man of power will have more than one woman, and they know about each other. But a man who does not have power will have those more than one woman, but they lie to the women. Baba didn't lie. He's like, baby, this is how I roll. You want to roll with me? I'm like, okay, let's try this. So anyway, those were my co-wives. And the one in the middle on the side of me, her name is Kai Wingo. She was a high doser. She passed in 2016. But before she passed, she was in a deep, deep coma. And Baba decided at that time, that's when he was going to take 40 grams so that he could go in there and pull her out. That was his whole goal, because he knew that that headspace that a coma might be in is the same space that you can go when you're traveling through the multiverse. You're in that space. So he took the 40 grams, hoping to pull Kai out. What happened was Kai pulled him out. She died, but she was in that space to where she pulled him out, and she says, look, I've given over my life to you in these mushrooms, my children to you. Here we are in this place, and I need you to get up out of here, because he got stuck. And he called me the next morning, after the journey, but it still wasn't over for a couple of days, I'm sure, but he was telling me about what happened and that Kai pulled him out. So after that, that was his reasons. It wasn't like, I'm big bad Baba and I'm gonna take 40 to see what this is really all about. No, he was going in with a mission, which was to save a life, but his life got saved instead. But after that, he decided, well, let's just go further. So he took 50 grams. He would stand in front of the mirror. I don't know what the mirror thing was about, but he would stand in front of the mirror. He'd grab a handful here and a handful there, and here. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get me a hotel room. I'm getting out of here. I mean, and he just crunching and he eating and he, and 50 grams. I mean, it'd take me about an hour to eat 5 grams. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? But he is tearing these mushrooms up and he's just inside of that space, and it'd take him maybe less than, 20 minutes to get down 50 grams. And then he would just kind of chill out and go off into his space. And he didn't talk a lot about his journeys in there, but he did talk about how the praying mantis energy was a real problem for him when he got over there. But in this 50-gram journey that he took, he said that, you all have seen the movie Dr. Strange, right? And Dormammu, that type of energy there. That's the stuff that's out there. People say, oh, the universe got me. Well, Baba says the universe will fuck you with a sandpaper condom if you don't watch out. Don't be calling on the universe, oh, the universe got me, because it will. You got to be careful out there. So this entity, or this energy, said, I will give you whatever it is that you want. All the women, all the riches, all the material things that it is that you want in this lifetime, I will give it to you. But you must bow down and worship me. And again, that man of courage and conviction stepped forward and said, no. 2 years later, he was gone. I don't know if there's a correlation inside of that. I just know that as Baba was on his way out of here, I knew that he found a wormhole opportunity and he slipped through it, because he got out of here, because he had some work to do. And he knew that over there, he would be able to do more than what he was here in this limited form of a human body. So many people have called me and told me that they've seen Baba in their trip. And when you take a high dose, you are invited into the Interdimensional Village. That's a special place for high dosers to go, and they hang out and they meet up there in the Interdimensional Village. And Baba will be there chilling and guiding you through. Now, is that the 5th dimension? I don't know. because the fifth dimension is where souls are very comfortable at and where they hang out at. And sometimes when I take my mushrooms, I'm invited to that space because, the souls are just like chilling, waiting to come back through again, or they hanging out at the bar or whatever it is they're doing, but you're in that space. So encouraging you to go further and go deeper and knowing that there's so much more than the average world out here, because if it wasn't, you all wouldn't be here now celebrating Baba Kilindi and commemorating April 10th as National High Dose Day. It's such an honor to know that this man has been gone for 2 years and his name is still very loud out here in the psychedelic world. The family and I are very gracious and loving towards you all for loving us and supporting us in this work. My work sprung from the work that I do. I help women step into that place of their power. I allow them to do the work with their wombs. I find that doing the mushrooms with a group of women in nature, as we circle, we connect in the womb space, because why? That is where we hold on to a whole lot of the pain. Now, you've heard the term, your womb can be a tomb or it can be a home. And a lot of women are walking around dead inside. And it is my goal to help open up this space so that they can thrive and bring forth healthy children with a healthy mindset by eating the right foods and having the proper sex. When I say proper sex, I'm talking about sex with a non-toxic man. What is a non-toxic man? A man who thinks better of himself, who speaks well over himself and others, a man who has elevated his diet, and he's not all on alcohol every other day, a man who respects the woman's womb space. So understanding, taking in a man who is non-toxic, you're taking in the semen of a man that is offering you protection with that semen. He is offering you guidance with that semen. Information comes from a man's semen when it's non-toxic. So that transference of energy between two people making love is a very, very powerful thing. And again, you add the 7 to that and it turns it into a whole nother game plan, right? So encouraging women to clean up their act by being more discerning with the men that step into their lives. The brother that would step to me, if I were a young woman at this time, how many grams have you done? Then we can talk, because that would be a precursor, because I know that at least you're on the other side of this thing right here. And everybody that comes to me that haven't heard any of Kilindi's lectures or read the books by Terence McKenna or Paul Stamets or anybody else out there, I educate them first. Go read this, go see this, go look at this, learn, and then come back to me. And then we can talk about you taking that journey. I'm not just gonna give you 10, 15 grams of mushroom and say, go home and handle your business. No, it is my responsibility to take care of you before you go out there and do your thing. So spreading this energy through the women as we circle in the woods. I had one woman who took the mushrooms in the circle and she called up her boyfriend. She said, I need you to be out of there by the time I get back. Get out. It's like, no, don't do that. But she realized in that space that there was no use for him. So, it was like it's like a revelation. Okay, I'm jumping around. Stay with me though. So let's go to opening up your bag. You get your bag of mushrooms, right? Intent is where I'm coming from. Intent. You open up the bag. You inhale the energy and you give forth what it is that you intend on doing. You ask the mushrooms, I want to see this, I want to do that, I want to go there. In my particular case, mine was, I want to learn more about the martial arts. I know it's inside of me. I can see it done, but I'm just not getting it like that. When Baba would teach, I was like, can you show me 25 more times so I can get it? So I go to the mushrooms and I say, I know it's inside there, pull it up out of me. I go back to class, I see the science just like that. I see the beauty just like that. I get the technique just like that. And that's with anything else that you do in life. That's with music, which is galactic in and of itself. That's with, if you're a massage therapist, you can see the meridian lines. That's with cooking. You understand the herbs that you're putting together. It enhances who you are. So be more than what you are. Don't be scared. Get up and handle your business. Tap into nature. When we give ourselves over to nature, what does nature do? She opens up herself and she allows her divine blessings to come through, and she gives her secrets over to you, which is where the witch work comes from. We work with the herbs. The word witch, W-I-T, wit. And then there's a craft. We got a major witch right here. My niece sitting right there, major. It just runs in the family. But the craft, the wit and the craft. So witchcraft means a wise woman. When you take the psilocybin, it enhances that energy to where you hear the plants talk. You look at the sky differently. The trees, you do want to hug them because they need a hug, especially those trees in Mississippi and in the South. Those trees ask me for forgiveness, and I'm like, I can't be the one to forgive. They're like, we just need a hug, because we had no power over stopping from the bodies that swung there on those trees. And those trees were in a lot of pain. The ground is in a lot of pain. The earth needs healing, and the earth will come from the healing from all of us collectively by doing this work. Now, Baba never called the mushrooms medicine. That wasn't his goal. He was an explorer. He was an adventurer. But then we realized what was happening to the people as we move further inside of the journeys with the mushrooms. There was a young woman who came to me, had deep womb issues. I went in for her. Kilindi would say, Ayana, you got to stop going in for people. You got to go in for yourself. I bet so many people need me right now. So she had deep womb issues. Inside of the mushroom journey, I had an ovary in this hand and an ovary in that hand, and they were just spinning. And while they were spinning in my hands, stuff was just flying off her ovaries. And in the next couple of days, she called me and said, I don't know what you did, but I have no more pain in my belly anymore. I didn't understand it, but I knew that it was deep and it was divine. There was a time when I took the mushrooms, Baba was laying next to me. I spread my legs wide. A light came for my vagina, and out of that light, a knife came out, and it stood up before me, and it was pointed in threes. It had a 3-point to it. It was a very ornate handle, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What is this knife that's standing before me? And Kilindi says, Purba. And I don't know what Purba is, What is Purba? It's like Purba. So I look up the next day as I come out of this journey what Purba is, and it's a knife that will strike its enemy on the other side. It's a very spiritual tool. So the magic in the mushrooms is so profound that if you don't have a teacher to maybe guide you inside of that, I was lucky enough to have that. And I want to share some of the things that he taught me, is to open yourself up, do the work, understand the work, and don't be scared of the work. Respect the work, honor the work, with the reverence of the work. Kilindi the man, his favorite program was Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah. What I did at home with Baba Kilindi was allow Kilindi to be that person at home. You come in and you close the door to that world out there. I'm not going to ask you a whole lot of questions. We don't have to look over some deep books. We don't have to do that. You can watch Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm going to make you an egg sandwich. We're going to sit on the couch and talk. Or you can just go back in that room and hang out and do your thing. I didn't press him. I let him just relax when he came home. So you was that person that called at 3 o'clock in the morning, huh? He would get those calls all the time, and he would answer those calls all the time because he knew out there somebody needed something, a voice, a tone, an energy, an encouraging word to just keep doing the work, and he would do that. So Kilindi belonged to the world, to everybody out there. Now he belongs to the multiverse. And I honor him, and I miss him, and we love him. And we're going to continue the work in a way that we will keep it sacred, because each and every one of you are going to go forth, and you're going to reach out to that next person, and you're going to give your energy over to them, and you're going to let them know what it is that you understand. We have women in here like Lucia, who is doing the work with women in their sexuality. You know, it's very important that we understand who we are as women. It's very important to understand that an orgasm is not just about, ooh, that felt so good, but it's power inside of an orgasm. There's magic inside of an orgasm. That a man's penis is not a weapon to hurt somebody with, but that lingam is a very powerful, beautiful tool to be used. And then when you hold that lingam and you stroke that lingam and you put your own magic into that lingam and you allow that to enter inside of your sacred space, and what you're creating there is a fullness and a wholeness and a power, because we possess the power as women to rule this world, and not in the sense that we're trying to take over, but in the sense that it needs us to rule now, because men have fucked up. Look at the daggum world right now. We're taking it back. It has fallen into our laps. It's a huge responsibility that we're getting ready to take on. And I know that through the food of the gods, we're going to make this happen. It is just our time. And so when you go home and you make love to your woman, men, I'm speaking specifically to you, or women, however that work with y'all, place your hand deep on that womb and send that energy in before you enter her. Before you love on her, place your hand on that woman, offer a prayer. You know, offer a prayer to that space as you open her up and love on her and make the magic happen in that space. And I guarantee you'll have a different flow in your home if you allow yourself to be that person inside of a relationship. That's where the healing is going to begin, with man and woman, woman and woman, man and man, however you want to do it. That's where the healing is going to begin, so that we can be on the same vibration. Okay? I'm just trying to, just kind of touch on a few things with Baba Kilindi throughout this talk here, little things about home. He loved breakfast. That was his favorite food, breakfast. He was a vegetarian for many years. He was devastated when Kai passed, just devastated. Kai passed because she decided to do a 40-day fast. I was with a man for 22 years. Every year, he would fast on urine and water for 40 days. I've never seen a human being do something like that before. Kai decided to do this with him. She's never fasted to that extent before. She made it 37 days. And she passed out. She had lost all her electrolytes. Her potassium was gone. She had bled 3 days before that. And everything in that blood that she had that she needed came out with the blood. And she wasn't able to sustain that. And that did something incredible to Kilindi. It truly, truly did. And at that point, he decided to go to the sacred mountain in Oaxaca, Mexico, where he experienced the bufo toad and the derumbe mushrooms there. And I know that is what, because we wondered, like, Baba's not, how is he handling it? Because he lost those two women 5 months apart, one from cancer and the other one from the fasting that she did with him. And, but he went to that sacred mountain in Oaxaca, Mexico, which is where we met, he did this in 2016, and that's the year that they passed. But when he came back, he had a light on him. There was some sort of glow. There was an energy about him, a deeper understanding of, when you do this bufo toad, so this is what death is like? This is how we separate this consciousness from this body? Death is not so bad. This is a beautiful place, because when I did the bufo toad, I heard music. There was a melodic voice. It was talking to me, soothing me on, and it was just a beautiful experience. And it was like, I don't want to go back. But I kept telling them to hold my feet, because they taking me on. But knowing that Baba was able to heal himself through entheogenics, tapping into the God within, generating the God within, he was able to come from that place of deep grief and understanding that this was part of a divine path. He brought the bufo toad. He brought the DMT. He brought the mushrooms to our community. He pushed the envelope. And now his students are pushing the envelope. And I'm just very proud of everybody that's been a part of it. And I'm just going to stop right now because I'm just going on, about Baba. Thank you all.